somebody help me keep up on those. Yes, Bernardo Kyle told me he's passing his test. He's not taking his test. He's passing it, right? So that's important about how we talk to ourselves is huge. I'm going to start really, really quick. We're going to cover some like competition stuff that's going on right now, a little bit of incentives, and then that's going to lead me into talking about a few other things that we really always want to focus on. But just so you guys have like an idea of what's going on right now, right? Like I'm not gonna like maximize this. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. So like right now, anybody that has three direct new recruits and teammates for the month, like personal, right? Like Haley's already got three, so she's already locked in training with Ian, which will be next month. So any three recruits, or if we hit 50 as a team, right? As a base shop, everybody earns it. I want everyone to focus on the idea of getting to those three recruits though, because those three new teammates are going to like supercharge your business. Because when we start talking about the multiples here in a second, you'll see what I'm talking about. And we say three that get three that get three, right? And it's it's this idea about building through multiplication, guys, and not building through addition. So who would like to earn like private coaching with a billionaire, right? I mean, think about it. And not only private coaching with a billionaire, but a guy who began his journey as a representative with Primerica, and then during his time in the business became the fastest to make $1 million a year in Primerica history. Pretty good, right? So in 48 years during his time, well, back then it was like, I don't know, 44 years, whatever. But during his time, he made it to 1 million in just under 7 years. He was the fastest until Andy and Brittany, our national sales directors, beat him about 15 months ago. They did it in just under 6 years, right? So you don't even know it. Some of you guys are so new, you still call it Prime America, right? But you're so new, you don't realize like the lineage of greatness from the company that you come from. And if it's somebody that coached and taught the dude that is now the fastest to 1 million in Primerica history, well, if we're running the same play and we're using the same system and we're teaching you the same things, you can see why we expect everyone to win, right? If you're putting in the work and you're duplicating the process, we expect everyone to win. So listen, I really want you guys to focus on where you're at and getting on the scoreboard. Because if we can get you on the scoreboard, well, we're in a good position to start, right? So congrats to Haley. She's already earned it, right? Cheyenne, you're one away, girl. Serena, you're one away. So you guys look, one more, right? One more, and you might hear us talk about the power of one more, the power of one more. And really what that comes down to is if you're not on the scoreboard yet, well, get on the scoreboard, right? Just just get on. And if you are and you haven't finished earning it yet, well, let's finish, right? And so for some of you, if you're brand new, it's okay. You're like, hey, I'm brand new. That's okay, right? Get your social media post up and running, talk to your trainer, figure out how to supercharge that thing, and we'll talk about that a little bit as we get going. But just wanted to show you guys, right? Haley's already there. There's a bunch of people with one, a couple people with two, right? And these are personal numbers. This isn't team numbers, right? It's personal numbers. The focus for us for this month has been massive personal activity. Because if we're doing it personal, right, there's a great chance that our teammates have something good to duplicate. Right? If they're seeing a good example, we say it's speed of the leader, right? Like if I'm not running appointments and I'm not training you guys, how can I ever expect the people beneath me, right? Like Angela, Haley, Cheyenne, how can I expect those leaders to be duplicating it as well, right? So I'll never ask you to do something that I've not done myself. All right. So let's go over here to the next one. So competition right now. So three direct recruits get you in for coaching with Ian. I said that we're going to talk about competition. We're going to talk about builder school. So guys, listen, the last piece of the scroll video that we played before meetings, like that last thing that happens, that was the last builder school. That was the one that we just did in May. The one coming up is in September. If you guys don't know who this dude is yet, that's okay, right? His name's Keith Otto. Just for comparison, Andy and Brittany have six direct regional vice presidents. Keith and Danielle have been in the business for nearly 40 years. They have 493, 497 direct regional vice presidents. This guy's making over like $5 million a year, but he's been running his business for over 40. But think about this. Where else have you ever been in your life in a job or anything, right? Or maybe you just like wanted to go to a conference or something, like you heard somebody was speaking somewhere and you're like, man, I really want to go to that. Where else have you ever seen a collection of people that make over $1 million a year in the same business as you, where you can show up and get a ticket for 25 bucks? And guys, listen, the ticket is good whether you show up in person and come, or whether you are like, look, hey, I really want to. I know that something is happening during September, during that time. There's no way I can physically be there. Great. We're going to live stream the entire thing. It's all on Zoom, and you're going to get a recording after it's all complete, so you have it forever, right? So in reality, there's really no reason why we shouldn't all get a ticket. And oh, by the way, prices are going up on Monday. So if you're gonna do it anyway, shouldn't you do it when it's going to be as cheap as it's ever going to be? I would argue yes, right? For sure. And here, like, let me just do this really quick so you have it, right? So my rep ID, my RVP number, my agent number, just like you guys, is CNR3V, right? We'll put the link out here in Telegram here in a little bit so you guys can go click it and follow what the instructions are in there. But when you go, thank you, Angela. I didn't even have to look. I knew who did it, right? I could see it like over, right? When you go register, right? You register under my name, and it's just for tracking purposes because let's be honest, everything's a competition. Everything's a competition, right? We are always competing. And that's the cool thing about the business, right? The business was built by an old football coach back in the day. I was Art Williams, right? So when you register under my name with my rep ID. That way we get it tracked correctly. But check this out. Keith and Danielle make like 5 million a year, right? Andy and Brittany, we know who those guys are. Assad and Lois, they're down in Naples here in Florida. Jim and Kimberly Meyer are going to be there. Jim Meyer also been in the business for about 40 years. Guys are making, I don't know, several million a year and have been for 40 years. Guys, it's wild. All right. There's nothing like being at one of these events in person. A close second is being there on Zoom, but the energy in the room is absolutely insane. And we always say big decisions are made at big events. And just kind of for context, right? I had been in the business for 9 months. I was already a regional vice president. We had already made 100 grand. Melissa had not come to something in person. I had already been to one up in Michigan because they were at a different place back then. And it wasn't until she came to her first builder school and saw the recognition, saw how much we were kicking everybody else's butts. And then, like, I think the thing that really did it for her was when random strangers were coming up to us because we're kind of Primerica famous. I know it's kind of weird, like but for real, they were like wanting to take pictures and just like, she's like, who are you? I'm like, I've been trying to tell you we're kind of a big deal. But it wasn't until she saw it, right? You can tell somebody something over and over and over, but until they see it with their own eyes, it just isn't real. And that was my wife, right? Like think about that. We had made 100 grand. I was already a regional vice president, but she still really didn't think it was that real yet. Philip, right? Philip came in May with Haley. He didn't get it. Haley, by at that point, had already made like 20 grand. She's a senior regional leader. It's like as good as you can be doing before you're a regional vice president. But then he showed up and he's like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And I promise you, it will change your life, right? It will change your life coming and being there in person. So look, our goal is to have 50 in person. Last time we were there, right, there were 14 of us. It was still the most out of any team that was there, right? We had the most people. And I don't want to give that up. I want to have the most people again, right? I want to have a three, four, five rows of just our Atlas team, right? It's just us, right? We're all redline, but it's our team. So I want to have more this time than last time. And if you think about it, if you're coming, you should be bringing someone. 100%. If you're coming to the event, you should be bringing someone. If it's your spouse, great. If you can't bring your spouse because they got to stay back with the kids, bring a friend, right? Travel with a buddy. And if you, worst case scenario, you can't do anything but get a ticket, get a ticket. All right. So listen, the competition continues, right? So not only do the three for the incentive get you in with coaching with Ian, like three directs, this is team numbers now. And Andy threw down the gauntlet to see out of the different base shops, right? Meaning brokerages, teams, however you want to look at it, we're competing, right? And so Andy and Brittany are crushing it, right? They're at 52 for the month. Abby and her team are at 18. We're in third place all of a sudden with 17. Last night we were in second place. But when it's actually a great example of like just that one day of missing some production, we slid, right? So that's why the power of one, you got to do a little bit every day, a little bit every day. I don't expect us all to be closing every single day, but at least somebody in the team should be closing something every single day. And that's the power of production. That's the power of the multiple, which leads me to this, right? It's three in each one, five times, right? The difference is three plus three, five times, or three times three, five times. This side over here, this is you all by yourself being the best agent in the world and just recruiting a couple of people, or even just maybe selling some policies every month, but you never teach anybody. You never duplicate yourself. At that point, guys, you're growing by addition. It's just you, right? Let's just say this is 5 months, right? Let's just say this is 5 months. Well, at the end of those 5 months, you've recruited like 15 people. This is normal people in Primerica. Stay with me here. When you run the business the way Art Williams wanted us to run the business and you grow through multiplication, the whole idea is to duplicate yourself as fast as possible. Because if I can teach you how to just be a little bit like me, and you can start running the play and you can start like you become like processing, you're getting closer. Now you're licensed, now you're teaching it. Guys, if you can do that, you're unstoppable because look what happens when we start going through multiplication. This is the power of the multiple, right? Even even three times three times three. Well, that's still pretty powerful too, right? Three times three is nine, times three is 27. So if you think about like if you go recruit three people and you get each of them three people, right? Well, now on your team is not nine, it's 12, right? Because you have your original three plus the nine you just recruited for each one of them. It adds up super fast. And that's the power of being able to be in more than one place at one time. Think about this. Yesterday, we brought on what, three, four new teammates in a day. I think Haley brought on one or two. I brought on one. Somebody else, Cheyenne brought on one. That's the power of teaching someone how to duplicate the business. Okay. And so look, these are the fundamentals, guys. This is where it all starts. Everything starts with a new recruit. You bring somebody in the business, they come in with a natural hot and warm market. You teach them how to run the business. You train with them in their natural hot and warm market. You're showing people how, or you're showing people what the business is like. You're showing people what they're going to be doing once they're licensed, things they'll have access to, right? We call that field training. Through the process of field training, your people will get promoted, meaning during their field training, they're going to earn a bonus. They're going to increase their commission forever, right? There's no minimum to keep it in the future. There's no quotas, right? And then you license them. And then you come back and start all over, right? That's why it says repeat 3 by 3 to infinity. So guys, but it all, if you look at the tip of the spear, where does it all start? It starts with a recruit because I can't field train somebody that isn't here. I can't promote somebody that I never brought into the business. And I'm not going to swear, right? But I, God bless, can't well license somebody that isn't here either. And and I want you to think about this. No one in Primerica that has licensed 1,000 people, 1,000 people, nobody in the business that has 1,000 licensed agents makes less than $1 million a year. That's crazy, right? If you look on POL homepage, we're at number 163 right now. There's 163 families, couples, agents, however you want to define it, in the business that make more than $1 million per year. I'm not talking they've made $1 million in their entire Primerica career. I'm talking like in the last 12-month period, from June to this June, they've made $1 million. 163 of them. I can't think of that many companies out there where 163 people are making $1 million plus a year. You got maybe like a C-suite, right? Like the CEO, CIO, CEO, elemental P. Those guys, those guys are making millions, right? The highest paid CEO last year, I can't remember the name of the company, but the guy made 150 million alone. Listen, I know some people are really good. Just know his opinion. Nobody's worth 150 million a year. Nobody's that good. Not happening, right? But that's what it looks like. Primerica says, hey, you go build a business, you build it as big as you want. Glenn Williams standing there at the carving table, just carving off money, right? It's unlimited. There's no limit to the income. Is that his name, Angela? Jim Anderson? 150 million? What was the name of his company?
Yeah, it's Jim Anderson just topped the list of America's highest paid CEOs in 2024, but he's not running the household name like Apple or Meta. Anderson leads Coherent. It's a tech-based company.
Yeah. Like overpaid, right? If you don't know the name of that company, but that dude made $150 million, we got a problem. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. All right. So that's the incentives, right? That's kind of what's going on right now, competition wise. And if you've ever wondered, like, why do we talk about recruiting? Because recruiting is distribution. And so when we are looking at why we want to build a business, let's talk about this really quick, because this is a great place to kind of learn and sort of understand why we are so passionate about building a business. Okay, this is the cash flow quadrant. This is a great way to understand, right? So, how many of you guys right now are an employee at a job? You show up, you get paid by the hour, you can't make more than your boss basically allows you to work, right? Or if you've ever worked in a job like that, how many of us is that? Right? It was me at one point, right? I was in the army. I couldn't make any more than my salary. It didn't matter if I worked 24 hours a day for 10 days straight. I was literally going to get paid the same thing, right? So I was an employee. That's okay, right? I was an employee. It's safe, it's comfortable, right? But then normally the transition from employee goes down to self-employed, right? These guys down here, dentist, doctor, lawyer, cosmetologist, real estate, salesperson, right? That's us. We're self-employed. We're 1099s. We're independent contractors. The problem here is now you own your job because really on this side, your income is still 100% off of one person, you. If you stop working on this side of the chart, what happens to the money? Put in the Zoom chat. What do you think? Or just like say it out loud. What do you think what happens to the money, guys?
Bye bye.
It goes bye-bye, right? Like if you, I don't even care, I don't care if you're a doctor. You could make a $500,000 a year over here, but if you're a doctor and you get into a car accident and you ain't doing any doctoring, are you still going to be making any money? Can you see patients? No, your money's gone, right? So now you move from here to here. Now we move to business. Now you own a system. You've hired people, you've taught them, you've duplicated, right? You own a process and a system. Now your income potential is essentially unlimited because we're moving away from the left side of the quadrant where your income is 100% off of one into owning a business where now you're in a position to have potentially 1% of your income from 100 people producing. So if you think about it, the difference between this side and this side, if you want to use really, really simple terms, right? Over here, this side right here, this is like a real estate agent. Who knows a real estate agent? Who knows a realtor? Right? Put it in the Zoom chat. Who knows a realtor? Anybody that sells a house, right? Now, is that person that you know, are they an agent or are they the broker? Think about it. Agent, right? Most of us know real estate agents. All real estate agents that I know, well, I should say most, especially the really good ones, they aspire to become brokers. Their goal is to go from 100% off of one into owning the brokerage and having agents working within the brokerage working with them. Does that sound familiar? What does that sound like to anybody? Does that sound like Primerica? Does that sound like I started as an agent? Now I'm your regional vice president and I own the brokerage. I own the system. I'm teaching everyone how to run the business. Now we're business owners, right? As you move on to this side, you become business owners and an investor, right? Your money is working for you. The business is working for you. At a certain point, whether I get up and produce or not, the business is moving on its own because the system is working. 100% off of one, 1% off of 100. That's the difference, guys. That's what you're focused on building. If you need a simpler analogy, think about it like this, right? I used to cut grass as a kid. Extra money, right? I could maybe cut like 5 lawns a weekend or like 5 a Saturday, 5 a Sunday. If I cut 5 lawns and I charge $50, that means I'd make $250 a day. $500 for the weekend. That's the most I could do. I couldn't work any more than that. And if I didn't work at all, did I make any money? No. So instead of just relying on me, I went out and bought 5 other lawnmowers, right? Fixed them up, tuned them up. They work great. And I went and got 5 buddies to cut lawns with me. Now I let them charge $50 a lawn. But since I'm providing the mower, right? I'm providing the platform. I just said, hey, listen, you go cut it, keep 40, give me 10. Now, every time they go cut a lawn, all 5 of those guys, I'm making $50 every time each one of those guys cuts a lawn together, right? They go cut 5 lawns, I make 50. They're still making 40. They're happy. But now I've just turned the business into 5 of me. Now, if they go cut 5 lawns in a weekend, I make $250. I wasn't even there. So if that analogy is the same, right? Do I want 5 guys cutting grass or 5,000? Think about it. I want all of them jokers, right? I want all of them. Because if they're all cutting grass and I don't got to be there, but they're happy because they're making money, they're providing. I provided a system and a platform for them to do it on. Well, God bless. The beauty of this is that if you go write a policy and make $500, you keep all of it. If you go write that and you keep all of it and you keep all of your money, do you care that the brokerage still makes money? If I'm not taking it out of your pocket, do you care that the brokerage still makes money? If it's not coming out of your pocket, why would you care? Especially if you know that you're in a position to become me. Listen, my job at the end of the day is to make every single one of you guys a regional vice president at some point if you're willing to do the work and you're willing to like go that route. Listen, regional vice president is attainable for everybody. It may not be for everybody, and that's okay. Because some of us just came here to make an extra $500 a month, not an extra $500 a day. But either one is in the cards, right? I promise you, once you guys are licensed and you make your first sale and you get that first do not reply email the next morning saying that you're getting a commission coming, you're gonna get hooked, right? It, if you've ever been addicted to like caffeine or something like that, like you want that next cup of coffee. Trust me, when you get that first close and you do it yourself for the first time, like the dopamine rush of closing and knowing that you did, it's insane. It is addicting and it feels really good because at the end of the day, you got paid and you helped somebody get something that they needed and wanted. Maybe they didn't even know they wanted it, but now they got it. And you provided it, and they would have never done it had you not shown them what we do. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. The business is amazingly fun when you're doing it and you're doing it with the right people and you're doing it for the right reason. Listen, guys, we never chase the money. The money's a byproduct. You go out and chase impact and you go out and work on changing somebody's life. Like right before this, I sat with a client that I've been working with for over 2 years. The first time I met her, she was in debt to her eyeballs. When we did her financial needs analysis, it said that she was going to be out of debt at 142 age. Age. That's accounting for all of her debt and what she was paying on her bills at the time, including interest, right? We just met. She just got back from a month in Europe. Okay. Not on a credit card. She paid for it. A month in Europe. We like redid her F&A and kind of updated everything. She's going to be completely out of debt at 52. It'll probably be faster. We just opened her Roth IRA and a money market account. If you'd have asked me 2 years ago, would she ever have independent investments, money in savings, and be able to take a 30-day hiatus while she's in Europe, like backpacking? I'd have said not just no, but hell no. Not with those numbers. But guys, like I said, listen, if here's the plan. Here's what we got to do. Are you willing to do it? She goes, yeah, I've just never known where to start. She's like, I make too much money to be this broke. She's a travel nurse. She makes over 100 grand a year. And she's like, where does it all go? I was like, I don't know, but we got to figure it out. Because if you don't tell your money where to go, you don't know where it's going. All right. So you got to have a plan for your money, guys. So listen, 8:30, questions yet? Anything? Anything that I've covered so far? Anything you need clarification? Referring to whole life? Kaylee, you can unmute yourself. What do you mean?
Like just with that story that you were telling about that, was that like with her having a whole life policy? I know I'm late and I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. So we were talking about the financial needs analysis and how
Oh,
it would have taken her to get out of debt with all of her bills and the payments that she was making, sometimes not making, right?
okay.
But just by, and this was not changing her income at all, but just by putting her money into the financial needs analysis tool and being able to look at it, she was going to get out of debt at like 59 instead of 142. When we met, she was 46. We just met again tonight and we recalculated everything. Now she's going to be out of debt at 52 and she's 47. Think about this, guys. Like, if you just take a step back and look at when she would have been out of debt versus when she'll be out of debt now, our system and her believing in just trusting the process saved her what, 95 years of her life and being out of debt 95 years sooner. Talk about the freedom and the weight being removed off of someone's shoulders. You know what the craziest thing is? She was never even a life insurance client. We submitted her life app, but she's type 1 diabetic. And so we never got her approved. So for over 2.5 years, she's been a client and I've done everything for free. Never once did I make a cent off of anything that we ever did because everything that we do for her from the financial needs analysis standpoint, from that GPS, that roadmap for your money, was free. Think about that. For like literally for free. We're going to try to get her approved, right? But it's a long road ahead when you're a type 1 diabetic. Getting that approved with insurance is dang near impossible for life insurance, okay? But and for almost 3 years, she's been a client, and I've never made a cent off of her. Now, not off of her directly, but you know what she's done? I can't count the number of referrals she sent me. Just one of the referrals she sent me, I know I've made at least 20 grand off of between investments and life insurance. One client. But that's the power of the business, guys. And that's the power of just doing what's right for the client every single time. Every single time. And I swear to you, if you chase impact and you chase doing just what's right, everything else follows, right? But it all starts with recruiting because she's not a personal client. You know where she came from? A field training appointment. A new recruit came into the business, said, hey, this is my best friend. I just want to show her what we're doing. I said, perfect. Let's talk about it. And she sat down and she said, I'm a hot mess. I said, okay, perfect. You're my favorite kind. That means I can have the most impact and I can fix things a lot, right? If I sit down with somebody and they've already got perfect term insurance and they got a Roth and all their money's saved and they're out of debt and they got $1 billion in the bank, well, I can't do a lot. But if I sit down with somebody and they're a hot mess, the marginal amount of impact that I can have in that person's life is unmeasurable. I guess it's measurable, right? We saved old girl almost 100 years off of her life of debt. That's the power of what we do, guys, right? That's the power of what we do. So, questions? Anything? Yep? No? Yes? Maybe? Somebody's got a question. I know you got to have a question. All right. Well, since there's no questions, I will wait for someone to figure out a question. In the meantime, somebody asked me earlier if I could sort of like go over and explain like a little bit better and more clearly the silent partner side of things, right? The referral partner side of things. How many of you guys that are here right now that are fairly new, like when you came on, you said, "Oh yeah, I just want to be that silent partner." Be honest, because I kind of need to know because I can talk to you like directly and explain this a little better probably. Interaction in the Zoom chat, guys. Like if you're not going to mute yourself, I don't know. Nobody wanted to be the silent partner. Perfect. Somebody out there wants to be the silent partner. Jamie wants to be a silent partner. Here we go. So listen, guys, if you want to be a silent partner, here's the way it works, right? If this is the commission chart, let's just say because Angel just said she wanted to be a silent partner. Perfect, right? Angel is a district leader. She's at a 50% commission contract. Regardless of what she ever does again in the future, she will never be below a 50% contract. All right. It doesn't matter like what happens once you have your contract. That's it. That's the new minimum. You can only go up. All right. So let me get out my calculator. Angela's favorite thing. She knows I like the calculator, right? So guys, let's look at an average policy is about 84 bucks a month. We get paid off of annual premium. How many months are in a year? 12. Don't give me no leap year nonsense, right? There's 12 months. So whatever the monthly is times 12. So that's an average policy. So we call it AP, right? Annual premium. If that's the average policy and that's what we get paid off of, well, if Angel's my silent partner and she doesn't want to talk to clients, she goes, no, I hate people. I don't want to talk to them. But every once in a while, I'm going to bump into somebody. We're going to strike up a conversation. And you know what? We're going to end up talking about money because it never fails. And I'll send them to you. You do all the work. I say, perfect. Right? So Angel just sent me a client. Their policy was 84 bucks a month. Now, Angel's the second agent. So Angel and I are splitting 50-50 right down the middle, the actual amount of premium that we're going to get paid off of. Everybody with me here? So she's earning commission off of 504 and so am I. If she's at a 50% commission contract, how much money did she just make sending me a referral as a silent partner so that I can do all the work and she can get paid? I'll wait. Put it in the chat because I need to make sure everybody understands this. How much did she make, right? This is mailbox money, guys. It's just going to show up in her checking account. Yeah, 250 bucks. That's her full commission. Her advance is 75%. So in a couple days, that's going in her checking account. Did she sit with the client? Did she fill out the Life app? Did she have to do any of the follow-up? Did she have to worry about them doing any medical exams or getting medical record? No. It's my job and Trey Lynn's job because she's the office manager. But she still made 189 bucks because she was the silent partner and she sent me the referral, right? Now, that's not every policy because some are going to be more, some might be even less. But would you care? Would you care really how much it was if you didn't do anything and all you did was say, "Hey, Noah, this is Haley and Philip, help them out. We talked to them already. They want to sit down. They're interested in what we do." And then I sit down and help Haley and Philip get them covered, and you get paid on half of whatever was produced. I mean, if that's what you wanted, you got it. And here's the best part. If you say, "Hey, no, I just want to be a silent partner. I'll send you referrals, blah, blah, blah," great, do it. But if you wake up one day, get a wild hair up your butt, and you go, "Man, I don't need to send Noah that. This is easy. This is a laydown. I can just get in and do it." Perfect. Get in and do it because then I don't have to work for half a paycheck, right? Plus, if you do it, you get paid more money. You probably do more of it. For like, think about this, guys. For those of you that are out there right now, how long at your current job would it take you to make $500? How long? Put it in the Zoom chat. I mean, what do you think? How long do you think it would take you to make 500 bucks cash, right? In your checking account at your current job? A week? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? I don't know. Everybody's different. But I mean, how long do you think it would take? Right? A week or two, a day. Dwayne said about an hour now because he's catching on. Good man, right? Crystal said 3 days, 30 hours, Josh. That's brutal. Week or two, Kaylee, 4 days. Okay. Well, let's think about this. Who, like, just an average couple, right? Man, woman, spouses, don't care, right? Average couple that has children, right? The average premium for that, if they're in their like mid to late 20s, early 30s, the average monthly for all of those people to be covered is probably, I don't know, 125, 130 bucks, maybe. If that's the average married client that you're sitting down with kids, which is your target demographic, right? Because we want to sit down with macho clients. If that's your average married client, guys, think about that. Like use your own calculator. Just do 130 times 12 times the commission that you think you want to be at, which for most of you should be at least 50%, right? So we say always sprint to district because we want you to get to district as fast as possible. All right. So if you're sprinting to district with an average client, and I'm going to show you guys, I'm not BSing you. I want you to see this. I'm going to show you this here in a second. If you're sprinting to district with an average client at a 50% contract, how much money did you just make? Angela's at an 80% contract. She'd make almost $1,000. Holy smokes. Here, look, just so you know, I'm not like lying to you, I'm not fluffing you, right? Because some of us don't realize how cheap life insurance actually is until we sit down and look at it. 28-year-old female, no medical check, 250,000 in coverage, waiver of premium is on, child rider on. So one kid, 12 kids, don't care. It's going to be the same 14 bucks, right? We're going to put her spouse on. He's a man in this situation. If it's not, God bless, right? About 60 bucks for the dude because men are more expensive to cover than women. We don't live as long and we're really dumb. We make bad choices, so we're more expensive to cover. Whopping grand total, $123. Here we go back to my favorite thing, the calculator. Times 12. There's your annual premium, $1,482. If you're an average agent at a 50% contract, in about an hour, you made $740. Your advance is 75%, just like everybody else. Oh, it didn't do it. Times, there we go. There's your direct deposit in about 2 days. We're not waiting for the 1st or the 15th, the end of the month, nothing. If you wrote it today and it processed today, the money's going to be in your checking account by Saturday. Anybody else ever been in a position where they could literally get paid every single day off the work they did that day? I never had before this, right? I got paid on the 1st and the 15th, like clockwork. Please, sir, can I have some more? Right? That's it. But not here. There's no limit. There's no limit. You come to me and you say, no, I need to make 6 grand by the end of the month. I say, sweet. What's your commission contract? Let's figure out what you need to do. Not, sorry about your luck, right? Better get another job. Nope. You come to me and you say, no, I need 6 grand. I say, great. Let's back out of it. If you need to end with 6 grand, we're all advanced 75% commission, no matter what, right? That means you need to have earned 8 grand, right? If you're an average agent and you're at a 50% contract, well, the math ain't too hard, right? If we're going to divide by 50 again, that means you need to go write 16,000 in premium. Is it easy? No. Is it feasible? Yes. I just showed you what an average married couple was, right? It was 1,500. So if we divide that by 1,500, how many clients do you need to sit with and help? 11. I don't have 2/3 of a client anywhere hanging around, right? Guys, that's the business. But where else have you ever even thought about working before where you could come to your boss, for lack of a better term, and I'm not your boss, I'm your coach. I can't make you do anything. And say, no, this is what I need to do. This is what I want. And I say, great, let's build a plan to do it. Not good luck, right? Not ha ha ha. Better get another job. No. That's it, right? That's it. That's what it looks like. So guys, all of that we just talked about, hopefully it was inspirational. Hopefully you kind of get like this like light bulb going off in this aha moment of what's happening. But none of it is possible if you don't ever get your license. So like right now, if you're sort of like, hey, I'm kind of just stuck, I'm like my activity is not really going anywhere, great. Focus on your license. Because if you're going down the rabbit hole of it not going the way you want to yet and you never get a license, you can't make any money. But if you're going down the rabbit hole of it's not going the way you want and you like pick yourself up by the bootstraps and you say, this isn't going the way I want, I'm going to control what I can and I'm going to focus on my license and I'm going to get my license. Control what you can control. If that's all you can control right now, perfect. That means you have nothing but 100% dedicated focus to that. Go do it. Go do it. All right. So, because without a license, none of what I showed you is possible. Even as a silent partner, if you're not a licensed agent, the best I can do for you as a referral is like a $50 gift card as a thank you. I'll send it. Trust me, I will gladly send it and keep the whole thing myself. But I would rather you get a license and I can split you because the odds of it going up and up and up and you doing more and more and more are much higher. And I have someone to send me leads forever until you decide you want to do it yourself, right? Jamie, you're 100% correct. Control the controllable, right? If it's not within my control, but I'm focusing every ounce of energy on something, I'm going to burn out. That doesn't mean make an excuse and say, I can't control that. That means focus on what you can control and then we'll worry about the rest later. So guys, recruiting, field training, promoting, licensing. So what I want to talk about really, really fast is field training. Dwayne's example from earlier was epic, right? He said, Noah, I've got a dude, right? Kind of like outside of my comfort zone because he's super professional, he's very successful. He knows me as the baseball guy. I said, okay, what's the problem? He said, well, I just don't feel comfortable. He doesn't know me like that. I just don't think that I could do it correctly. I said, fine, no worries. Put it on my calendar. That's a very mature decision to know that maybe this isn't right. Maybe I'm not the guy for this guy, not yet. But even when we got on the call, within like 10 seconds, the guy goes, what have you done to my friend Dwayne? Not in a mean way, but like joking. I said, well, hopefully I made him better. I don't know what we're talking about, but hopefully I made him better. He goes, you made him 100% better. The guy's like communicating. He sounds very professional. I thought somebody had like stolen his phone. Guys, I've been working with Dwayne for 35 days, a month, right? A month, essentially. And in a month, I've taken Dwayne from the baseball guy, dude's in contention for like number one agent in Aiken because I just voted for him on some poll thing he sent me. If you'd asked Dwayne 40 days ago before he met me if he ever thought that that would be anywhere in the realm of feasible, he'd have said, no, I'm the baseball guy. But when you're open to change and you're open to coaching, anything's possible. This business is self-improvement with a paycheck. It's self-improvement with a compensation package, right? If Dwayne leaves me 3 months from now and goes somewhere else, it will be okay because he will be a better man when he leaves. No heartburn, right? We'll have made some money together along the way and he will leave better. Chase the impact. Chase the impact and everything else follows, right? We sat on that KT appointment for like an hour and a half. The dude probably told me no 4 or 5 times as we were going through it. His wife came home. She's like, oh, that's too expensive. Look, I can get it at AAA, right? And he's looking at it. And listen, this guy knew nothing about insurance, but just in like the time that we had been talking, he's looking at it and he goes, yeah, but it doesn't tell me how long the term is. That's not as much coverage as I want. And like it's going to get more expensive. This guy's like defending me now to his wife because we had taught him in about 45 minutes more than he'd ever learned about insurance. We ended up submitting the policy. We took the app. It went COD, ironically, which is crazy because the dude's healthy as heck. But on that one appointment, that one dude, I'm gonna bring out the calculator one more time, just one more again, right? That one guy, because he's a little bit older and wanted a lot of coverage, his policy was $157 a month. So that one app was about $1,884 AP. So let's run the math because he's going to get approved. So for Dwayne, he's at a 60% contract. He's earning commission off of 940. How much did Dwayne make sitting there smiling and nodding, listening and learning because he made the decision to let me run it because he wasn't ready yet? That's a hell of a paycheck to shut up and smile and nod and take notes. I promise you, he won't be mad at it when we get that thing approved. That's a pretty good night. That's a pretty good night. And listen, I don't care about doing it for half the paycheck because the half a paycheck that Dwayne made on that is nothing compared to the investment that I put into him for the future because now he's in a position to where he's going to be comfortable talking to that caliber of client in the future. That one appointment, if you go back and read Dwayne's Telegram post that he made about that, probably changed him more in 90 minutes for the business than the last month that he had done on his own. I'm telling you guys. Because not only did he see the business, he got to hear someone that he respects, that he's worked for in the past, right? Tell me and in absentia tell him how much more professional he sounds and almost like, who are you? But not in a bad way, in a good way. That would have never happened had Dwayne not responded to a Facebook post and took a leap of faith and said, I don't know, this just feels right. I don't know. Let me see how this works out, right, Haley? Let me just give it 90 days and see what happens. Well, $22,000 later, and a massive growing team and the number one senior regional in all of Redline hierarchy last month, I'd say it's going okay. Trust the process. Trust the process and don't change anything, please. Listen, discretion is the enemy of duplication, right, Dwayne? Hey, I just want to run it my way. I just want to that my people don't know me like that. They don't know, like they won't respond if I talk like that. They're going to talk like I need to talk like me to them. Discretion is the enemy of duplication. Listen, perfect. I love it. Try it your way and then let me know about your results. And then when it doesn't work, we'll try it my way. Do you want your results or my results? Guys, listen, this isn't bragging. It's just to show you the level of and the speed of what's possible. I became a regional vice president in just over 6 months. I not only made my first 100 grand inside a year, I did it in 9 months. And then I made a second 100 grand in 13 months in the business. Then we hit 300 grand in 17 months. We were the fourth fastest to full ownership in Primerica history in almost 48 years. That doesn't happen on accident. That's not a fluke. So you're in the right place. When he needed to shop it around, yeah. So we call it like overcoming an objection, right? So he said, "Hey, I'm in contracting. I got to shop it around. I got to do this. I got to do that. I mean, you get it, man. It's just business, right?" I said, "Absolutely, 100%." I said, "But can I show you what generally happens when people want to shop it around?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." I said, "Listen, when you go to shop it around at other companies, right?" And he was here. We'll do his, right? So he's 45, precision term. Let's just say this was rough estimate, right? Okay, so this was roughly his policy. It was different, but I said, "Listen, we're submitting this today at standard. If you go get quotes from other companies, that's perfect. But let me be honest with you, they're just quotes, right? Very rarely will ever someone sit down with you and explain things the way we're doing it right now. Most likely what will happen is you go click somebody's website and you'll get this as your quote, but in small font print somewhere, it will say you could qualify for, right? Because this is the best case scenario. We don't do it that way. I say, look, I'd rather you have you be comfortable right now at $140 because you are, right? Time down. He said, yeah. I said, well, great. I said, look, once we submit the policy, if you come back better, like you get an improved rating, like you're healthier than the average 45-year-old dude, if it came back cheaper, would you ever be mad at me? Look at my head. I only ask no questions when I want a no answer. He said, well, no, of course not. I'd say, perfect. It's just an application. There's literally no risk because even if it comes back and it's not the exact way you want it, we can change it. You can tell me to go away and pack sand. Maybe you got a better one. Look, you have a free look period. There's no risk in putting the application in. See what I'm saying? Am I right? He goes, oh, yeah, it's just an application. And then he yells at his wife. He's like, it's just an application. Well, guys, if it's just an application and there's no risk, like what I'd really like to do today is just apply and see how it comes back. Sound good? Perfect. Who do you want your beneficiary to be? Ownership question. Guys, that's the transition. That's the close. Like, we're not talking about this anymore. We're just doing it. We're just doing it, right? What we're going to do today is we're just going to apply and see how it comes back. Sound good? Look at my head. You don't got to be that extreme, right? But sound good? They're going to say yes. Say, great. As I'm pulling up the application, who do you want your beneficiary to be? Now it's an ownership question. He's going to tell me his wife. Now he owns it. It's his policy. She's the beneficiary, right? So guys, there's a psychology to sales, but I never want you to think that you're selling anyone anything. Our job is to get in front of someone, show them what we do, uncover a need, and show enough value to fill the gap that we just uncovered. Because our job is to show value, and then a client decides whether they move forward or not. Can't make you do anything over a Zoom. It's not like I'm standing there with a gun to your head saying, sign the DocuSign. That's not how this works. This isn't pushy. This isn't like high pressure. This is, hey, did you know? Hey, outside of work, who's handling your life insurance and retirement planning? People say, I'm good. I'm all set at work. I said, I know. I said outside of work. So who's actually doing your life insurance? It's not like this dude didn't have any life insurance. He had like 300 something thousand at work, another 260 in accidental death. He had something on his wife, something on his kids. I said, great. That's amazing. All that is so cheap, it might as well be free. Am I right? He goes, well, yeah, I guess I never thought. I said, look, if you're getting all that and it's like 40 bucks a month, who cares? I said, but as soon as you stop working, what happens? When you leave that job, where does your stuff go? He goes, I don't keep it. I said, can't read your policy without it, but just generally, when you leave work and you leave your group benefits behind. Take your 401k, that's yours, right? It goes with you. But when you leave the group, generally you leave all those group benefits behind. I said, if you left that job, would you expect them to keep giving you health insurance? He said, well, no, that's silly. I said, well, then why would they give you life insurance? He goes, oh, I never thought about it like that. I said, perfect. So, like I said, outside of work, who's doing your life insurance? He said, nobody. I said, well, that's a problem. Uncover the need. Just like a recruit call, your job is expose the nightmare and sell the dream, right? Somebody's going to tell you exactly why they need you. They came to you because they were open to the opportunity anyway. My job is to figure out what they really want. Hey, so I mean, if you could change anything about your job, what would it be? Uh, I don't want to drive. I can't stand my commute. I hate the people at work. So, I mean, if I could show you something where you could work from home and make your own hours, is that something to be open to taking a look at? Well, yeah, that sounds amazing. Perfect. That's exactly what we do. It's no different, guys. It's no different. Listen,